Hey everyone, my name is Kaons, and Kirby's Dream Land is a game which I do not own a physical copy of. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I saw this game and I was like, this looks like a job for me, so everyone just follow me, because we need a little controversy, because it feels so empty without me. Why'd I do that? Warning, this video is extremely negative. I need to make this video because if I ever want to talk about Kirby's Dream Land 2 or 3, I need to do 1 first, because it makes sense to do that. And I might as well get it out of the way, you know what I mean? You see, I love Kirby, but I also don't. I have this odd opinion where I believe Kirby Super Star was the absolute peak of the series. You've probably heard me mention this in other videos. The series has always played every game incredibly safe. The devs are clearly way too afraid to try new major things in the mainline games. It's the main Nintendo franchise we've yet to see a full 3D game of. Now, don't say Kirby 64, that's really pushing it. 3D models, yes. 2D game, also yes. 2.5D if you want to be technical. I do believe it's a series that has potential for a lot more, but HAL is all like, nah. I personally just don't believe these 2D Kirby games like Star Allies hold up today as modern titles. They're just so basic. They're so basic it hurts. They all follow the exact same formula since the games from the 90s, sometimes with new little gimmicks added here and there. Kirby's Adventure, we all like Kirby's Adventure, it's a pretty good game. If they padded out Kirby's Adventure with more content and give it a new look, it'd pass for a modern Kirby game and it'd be sold for 60 bucks. Don't deny it. I hate this. Clearly I have a lot of negative things to say about the series, so now you're probably wondering, why are you so obsessed with it? I don't know. There's just something about the series, I can't pinpoint it. I have some guesses though. If you know me, you'd know I love good looking visuals in video games. And games like Kirby's Dream Land 3 and 64 just look so great to me honestly. Kirby games are a great example of how you can make the graphics look good on inferior hardware. It all comes down to the art style. The graphics department is definitely an area the series does well in. More specifically, the Kirby games I prefer are the older ones, so maybe it's just the overall aesthetics of the games. I love the animal friends, especially Ku. Bird. I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the old games are just better. I wish the Kirby games still had that Dream Land 3 and Kirby 64 feel, if you know what I mean. It's very hard to explain what I'm talking about, but if you know these games, you probably know what I'm talking about. Now, this may only be because of speedrunning, but I love Jet. It's actually one of the greatest abilities in gaming history, if not the greatest. It is just so fun to move with. I don't know why people hate this power so much, they must just be trash with it. That's my only guess. Also, think about this. Back then, a game like Kirby Super Star was competing with a game like Super Mario World. They come very close. Now, a game like Kirby Star Allies is trying to compete with Super Mario Odyssey. It just doesn't add up. Mario has definitely made some huge game quality advances over the years. I can't really say the same thing about Kirby. Yet, they're charging the exact same price for the games. Oh, Nintendo. Now, while I clearly was very negative about Kirby earlier, I don't believe the games are inherently bad. I'm just sick of the series throwing out these uninspired Kirby games that look like they were made in a Return to Dream Land level editor and then charging $60 for them. These modern Kirby games all just feel okay at best. Back in the good old days, when I wasn't even born yet, Kirby games all looked and felt different, and I love that so much. Compare Kirby Super Star and Kirby's Dream Land 3, for example. Exact same console, completely different games. One is better than the other though, but they're still completely different. Fast forward to later, and it seems like Return to Dream Land is where the series just kinda stopped caring about feeling different. Also, I hated the flagship art style and gameplay mechanics in the DS and GBA games. They just felt so cheap to me. I wouldn't be able to explain it. As a kid, I didn't really feel this way, but looking back at them, I just do. Before anyone asks, I know I am 100% aware that Epic Yarn and Rainbow Curse are games that do exist and try out unique art styles and gameplay mechanics, which I can definitely appreciate. However, they just don't really feel like mainline games, especially Rainbow Curse. That one felt very odd and felt like it was made to simply be another reason as to why the Wii U gamepad exists. Games like Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, Return to Dream Land, Star Allies, those are the ones I'm referring to here. The mainline games. I understand in the era of 3D modeled games, it's hard to make games look different, but there seems to not even be an effort. Compare Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy though. 3D modeled games, same series, completely different aesthetic and feel. Something I haven't mentioned yet is that the game I'm making this video on, if you somehow forgot, Kirby's Dream Land, is a very popular speed game. Why? My main guess is that it's a simple, short, easy to pick up speedrun, but still, why? This game is also heavily RNG based, so why? Now, I get that my opinions may be strange, and they may be stupid. Kirby's Dream Land was the first ever Kirby game releasing in April of 1992. Kirby wasn't even pink yet. On the box art, he was white. How is this legal? According to Wikipedia, the plot of the game is that King Dedede steals all the food in Dreamland as well as the sparkling stars to obtain more food. Kirby then has to stop Dedede. Kirby can jump, inhale, spit, and swallow. When you start the game, you'll get introduced to green greens. Very basic platforming stuff here. You face a mini-boss, then face Wispy. Now, that's it for the first section of the game. There are some extra rooms and areas, but still extremely basic. Next area you go to is Castle Lololo, where you'll find a mic and bomb. Now guess what they do? If you guessed kill enemies, you'd be correct. there are these question mark boxes here, and I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of them are. To make the game look like Mario? I don't know. I tried spinning a box and when nothing happened. I'm stumped. Each section of the game has 2 bosses, 1 mini boss and then 1 main boss. You fight Lololo and Lololo, who are these weird circle things and push boxes, and yeah, that's it for Castle Lololo. Float Islands is next. Oh yeah, and each area has a little cutscene thingy before them. Kinda cool. Ah yes, finally a beam enemy. Let's swallow them. Oh wait, there's no point because nothing will happen. That's right, this Kirby game lacks the main gimmick of Kirby games. Copy abilities don't exist. Yes, the abilities like the Curry and Mike exist, but they're not copy abilities. This game is nothing. Apparently puffing is enough to take down this blimp. Huh, I was not aware of that. Bubbly Clouds. I absolutely hate this area. You fight Kracko Jr. and Kracko here, and then it's Mount DDD. Here, there's 4 doors with rehashed content behind each. Yeah, you do a Green Greens type level, face another Wispy, play a Float Islands type level, face another Blimp, play a Castle Lololo type level, face Lololo and Lalala again, play a Bubbly Clouds level, and face Kracko again. For some reason, you need to touch these fake Kirbys to get rid of the Gordos. What? Lastly, you fight DDD, who is pretty annoying and has almost double Kirby's health. You then beat him and that's it. That's it. That's it. That's Kirby Dream Land. Did you enjoy it? Well, there's also an extra mode. Same levels and stuff, except it's harder. Epic. If I ever get extremely bored one day, I might try to beat it just to say I did it. This game aged incredibly poorly. It isn't intended to be difficult, but sometimes it can be because of how clunky and laggy the game can be. I played this game on the BGB emulator, which tries to be as accurate as possible. So yeah, when playing this normally, there's a ton of lag. So overall, this game is extremely short, clunky, and laggy. Now, obviously the graphics are bad and the music is chiptune-y, but these aren't really fair points to make towards a Game Boy game, I'm completely aware. But they're still true, are they not? This game is simply outdated and doesn't hold up at all. And being honest, besides the spin-offs, this is the worst Kirby game. Straight up, I just have to say it. In 2020, Kirby's Dream Land is not a good game.
But Kaons, the series wouldn't exist without it.
So? I'll never understand this logic. It doesn't necessarily mean the game is good. You ever hear people call the first Super Mario Bros. Game the best video game ever simply because it saved the video game industry? Just because it had a large impact back then doesn't mean it still holds up today. But every series needs to start somewhere. This game introduced a lot of stuff which would remain standard in future Kirby titles. The enemies, the melodies, the basic gameplay mechanics. This is the game that started it all, and I have to give it credit for that. Honestly, this series should have waited for Kirby's Adventure to make a good first impression. That game is so much more solid. Maybe they could have ended up releasing Dreamland after that, but what do I know? I'm not a game publisher. Kirby's Dream Land 2, especially considering it's on the exact same piece of hardware, is so much better. I will be checking out that game eventually. If you want to experience the first game, honestly, just play Spring Breeze on Kirby Super Star. You're not missing much. I bet if I was a kid in the 90s, I would have gotten quite a few hours out of playing this game. Granted, the majority of the hours would be from replaying the game. This game can be casually beaten in 30 minutes. But still, I can completely understand why this game was seen as decent in the 90s. It's like a 2D platformer NES game on the go. That's sick! We are really spoiled now, aren't we?